Good morning, friends. How are you? I hope you are all safe at home. In our daily life, observation is very important. In our life, we have to learn many things from observation only. So, yesterday, while watching a movie, The Incredibles, I observed one lady whose name is the Elastic Lady, the Elastic Girl. Her hands can be extended to whatever extent she needs. By seeing her hand, I got the concept of line. Similarly, when my children are playing at home with a ball, I got the shape of sphere from the ball. And today in the morning, while coming to the studio, I rode a bike. The wheels of my bike are circular in shape. And now, when I came to the studio, here I observed many things. Wall and this table, board, my mobile, all are in the shape of a rectangle. So, here I observed many shapes. I found many shapes from my surroundings. Even you also can observe, can find many different shapes from your surroundings. Even from nature also, we can find different shapes from different objects. For example, if you consider a tree, the trunk of a tree is in the shape of a cylinder. If you take a leaf, that is a shape, but it is an irregular shape. It has no name. Like that, shapes may be regular or irregular, but we can find many shapes in the nature. I think you got my point. Today's topic, yes, that is about shapes. So today we are going to discuss about nature of shapes in the nature. So let us start. So what is the study of nature of shapes called? The study of shapes and their nature, means their properties, is called geometry. And this geometry was the oldest branch of mathematics. It was known that it existed from 600 BC, the topic geometry in mathematics particularly. And let us know the meaning of this word geometry. What is the meaning of this word geometry? This was known to be derived from two Greek words. One is geo and the other is metron. Geo means earth. Metron means measurement. So totally, as this word is the fusion of these two words, we can say meaning of this word geometry as measurement of earth. So the meaning of the word geometry is measurement of earth. Now let us discuss about the person who introduced this geometry. Euclid is the mathematician who introduced geometry. Euclid, a Greek mathematician. And now let us know some details about Euclid. Euclid was considered as the father of geometry, as he contributed more for the development of geometry. Even the modern geometry, that means coordinate geometry, is also developed from Euclid's theory only. And Euclid wrote a famous book called The Elements. Name of the book written by Euclid was The Elements. This is very famous book, The Elements, which is the second largest published book in the world after the Bible. This is the second largest book published in the world. The first largest published book is the Bible. After the Bible, this is the second largest published book. And this book has 13 editions. That means it is the combination of 13 books. Like Harry Potter series. You know, I think about Harry Potter. It is the combination of, it is the series of some books. So like that, this also, The Elements, is the series of 13 books in which Euclid mentioned every detail about this geometry. So these are the details about the mathematician Euclid and his famous book, The Elements. So let us enter into the subject now. The basic thing in geometry is point. So here in your daily life, this point has much significance. Here we can observe tip of any pen or pencil. Tip of any pen or pencil as a point, as an example for point, and corner of any room, or in rangolis we use points, dots, and even in India map also we can show many places with points. Not only India map, you can use Google Maps to find location. So point is the fundamental unit of geometry, which is considered as the dot made by a sharp pencil or pen on the paper, or we can use that as the exact location, the denotion for exact location, and it has no dimensions. A point has no dimensions at all. So these are the details of a point. So these examples all give us an idea of point. So after this point, let us discuss the next concept, which is already discussed with the example of elastic girl previously. That is this. So what is this actually? Here, before forming this, I kept one point. After this, I kept another point just adjacent to this point, and one more point adjacent to the same point on the opposite side. Like this, I continued keeping the points continuously. Now, can anybody say how many points I kept here? We cannot count the number of points here. That means this is an infinite collection of points. An infinite collection of points in a straight path. This is called a line. An infinite collection of points in a straight path is called a line. And this line can be extended indefinitely in both the directions. These arrow marks denote that extension. So this can be extended indefinitely, and we cannot measure this line because this is not limited, this is not certain, it is having indefinite length. And here, to denote a point, to denote generally a point, we denote with capital letters of English alphabet, uppercase letters of English alphabet. But to denote a line, we can use lowercase letter like small l or small m, anything. So a lowercase letter we can use to denote a line, or we can use any 2 points lying on the line. Suppose here on this I have shown 4 points on this line. Let us take A, B, C, D as the points on this line. Now this line can be denoted as line AB. This is the symbol for line. Line AB or line AC, line AD, line BC, line BD or line CD. So we can take any 2 points lying on the line to represent a line if we wanted to show using points. Otherwise we can use a single lowercase letter to represent a line. Now let us see the next point, that is a part of line. Suppose for example you consider that this line was cut in middle at some point. Let us take this as the point. Now this is a part of line which has one end point, and the other in other direction it can extend indefinitely. So this is called a ray. So we can consider ray as a part of line which has one end point and can extend in only one direction, whereas the line can extend in 2 directions. And for this ray also we have many daily life examples, as I have shown in the PPT. Here sun rays, torchlight. Here you can observe the rays, light rays coming from any light. They seem to be started with a point. So that is the point shown here. So this point we can take as initial point of this ray or end point of this ray. So this is one end point. Let us consider this as A. Here one more point, let us take it as B, C and D. So to denote this ray also we can use a lowercase letter from English alphabet. Here small m, anything, small m or small n, anything we can take. And if we wanted to represent this ray also using 2 points on it, then we can represent it, but in those 2 points one must be its initial point or its end point. So let us take here representation of this ray, that is AB or AC or AD. But here we cannot consider the name of this ray as BC or BD, because like a line we cannot take any 2 points lying on the ray. One point must be its end point or its initial point compulsory. That is mandatory. While naming a ray, taking its end point is mandatory. The next concept let us see, which is a part of this line, but we can consider that this line was cut at 2 points. Then we can form a line segment which is a part of line, but here it has 2 end points. Let us take these points as A, B, C and D on the line segment also. But here like a line or like a ray we cannot denote a line segment. A line segment can be denoted by a lowercase letter as it is, just like line and ray. We can denote a line segment by a lowercase letter, single lowercase letter, or any 2 points on the line segment, but here not any 2 points, only end points. This line segment can be named as AD only. here symbol also for line segment we won't show the arrow marks. While showing a line we have shown with arrow marks. Previously we have seen AB, this is AB line with arrow marks. And while showing a ray AB, if you take AB and we have to show arrow mark towards the point where we have extension. Here towards A we don't have extension, towards B we have extension, that is why we have shown AB like this. Suppose for a ray if we have the opposite direction, then we can show AB with opposite direction. This is the ray and it can be read as BA, the ray BA. Always to read a ray also we have to start with its end point or initial point. And here a line cannot be measured, even the ray cannot be measured, but a line segment can be measured because it is limited. And a line segment has two endpoints. A ray has only one endpoint, but a line has no endpoints. Here, for a better understanding of this concept, we can use one activity. We can consider this line as a rope. We can use a rope, and I will explain that activity as if I am doing now. So you practice later. So let us consider this as a rope. Now I wanted to measure it. I wanted to measure this rope with a tape. So I kept the tape along with this rope, but it is extending. Again I kept some more tape, but again it extended. So I was worried how to measure this line. So I have got a scissors. So I cut the line at one point. So after cutting, I got two rays. Here you can imagine that I have cut. So here I got two rays on that side and this side. Again one ray I have taken to measure. So the initial point it is fixed, but the final point is not fixed. So again it is going on extending. I tried to measure, but it is extending. So second time I got one more idea to cut this second time. So after cutting this for the second time, I got a line. If I cut two times, that means this rope will be cut. We will get three parts in which two are rays and the middle one is line segment. Now I could measure with the tape easily. So this is the activity we can use for better understanding of this concept. Next, coming to the next concept, which is about line only. Let us see the previous example. A, B, C, D. These 4 points are lying on this line. So if we have some points which are lying on the same line, they are called collinear points. Collinear points. The points lying on the same line are called collinear points. After this, I got some idea. Previously, while we are taking the collection of points, infinite collection of points to form a line, we have taken adjacent points. See, suppose this is one point. To form a line, we have taken adjacent points on right side and left side for this point, and we continued this. We continued this in the straight path, in the same path. But I got one idea. Why can't we consider the adjacent points in other direction, in this direction, in this direction, like that? How many directions are there? Infinite directions we have. So in all the directions, suppose if we consider the collection of points, it fills the total board. If we go on taking adjacent points, collection of adjacent points in all directions, it fills not only the board, it fills, it continues. So this is one more concept called a plane. Plane. So plane can be considered as a flat surface extending indefinitely in all the directions. So a plane can be considered as a flat surface extending indefinitely in all the directions. So here for plane also we can get many examples. For plane we can get many examples in our surroundings. The best example is wall, surface of wall in your home. And in this room also I found plane surface. This board, surface of the board is a plane surface. Like this we can consider surface of any object in the shape of a plane. Actually this board is also cannot be considered as a plane exactly, because it is limited. But what is plane actually? It should extend indefinitely. Flat surface should extend indefinitely, but we cannot get indefinitely extending flat surface in our daily life, in real life. That's why these parts of plane only will be considered as examples for plane. And here I said that surfaces of many objects will be in the shape of plane. But can we consider the surface of a football or the surface of a volleyball as a plane? No, because that is curved surface. I told you the definition of plane as flat surface, a flat surface extending indefinitely in all the directions. That is called a plane. Okay, not the curved surface. And the surface of cone, ice cream cone also you can see, one surface will be flat, but the lateral surface of ice cream cone will be curved. Okay, now after this, to represent a plane, in representation of plane also, here if we consider this as a plane also can be represented, can be denoted by any 3 points lying on the plane, but here those 3 points must be non-collinear. Suppose if we have P, Q, R, 3 points, P, Q and R, 3 different points if we have, and if they are not on the same line, then we can take this plane as, we can name this plane as PQR plane, plane PQR. We cannot represent a plane with 3 or more points which are on the same line. That means with collinear points we cannot denote a plane. As we know that collinear points lie on the same line, those points which are lying on the line cannot represent the total plane. And see, in this plane we can understand that this is a set of infinite points. These concepts which we discussed till now, what we discussed till now, point, line, line segment and ray, these are all can be considered as parts of this plane, because every picture, every point, see point we have drawn on this board, which is a plane, and line we have drawn on this plane, line, segment, ray. So whatever the concepts we discussed till now, point, line, line segment or ray, all are the subsets of plane. Subset means a part of, they are parts of plane. So plane is very important concept. Next, the next concept is, can we identify some corners in your home, or see, while opening the door, between the door and the frame of the door we can observe something, some part like this or like this. Do anybody observe corners like this in your home? Yes, we can observe in many cases. When we turn the pages in a book also, we can find some corners between pages and total book. Suppose one page is being rotated, being turned. So there between the page and the remaining book we can find some corner like this, which is called angle. So angle means, here you can observe two rays with a common initial point. So this is the combination of two rays with common initial point. So an angle can be considered as the combination of two rays with common initial point, and this common initial point is called vertex. Common initial point is called vertex, and these two rays with which the angle is formed are called arms of the angle. These two rays are called arms of the angle, and this common vertex, this common initial point is called vertex. And here, while taking an angle, we will take one ray at rest, and this will be considered as initial ray, and the other ray, second ray, this is ray 1, this is ray 2, and this will be seen as it is rotating. So this is called initial ray, and the second one is called rotating ray. And after rotating to some extent, it will stop at a place. So at that particular place, the same ray is called final ray or terminal ray. Terminal side or final side also we can say. And here, this is the extent of rotation. So basing on this extent of rotation only, we can measure an angle. We can decide whether the angle is large angle or small angle. And some people, here I will show one example. Observe carefully. These are two angles with the same extent of rotation. These are two angles with the same extent of rotation. Then we can consider these two angles are equal. Many people think that this is small angle and this is big angle by seeing the size of the rays. But actually, size of the rays means, can we measure a ray? No. That's why even this ray also can be extended more than this. As we have extension here, we can extend. This can also be extended. This can also be extended. So basing on the size of rays, we cannot take that this is small angle and this is big angle. Basing on this rotation, extent of rotation between the rays, we have to decide whether it is bigger angle or smaller angle. We have to compare angles basing on the extent of rotation. And here, always in mathematics and sciences, we consider this direction, which is anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise or counterclockwise direction as positive direction. And if we have any angle in this direction, that is clockwise direction, clockwise, this is negative always. So for an angle also we have two directions, those are anti-clockwise and clockwise. Anti-clockwise direction will be considered as positive direction always, and clockwise direction is considered as negative always. And here, basing on this extent of rotation, we measure the angle. So while measuring an angle, we can classify angles into 7 types totally. 7 types basing on measurement of the angle. So the first type is zero angle. Zero angle. That means here we will have 0 degrees measurement. We can't see any rotation between the two rays. Both the rays will be coinciding each other, and here there will not be any rotation. So this is having a measurement 0 degrees. Next, the second type is acute angle. Acute angle means we will have some rotation between these two rays, which ranges between 0 and 90 degrees. This ranges between 0 degrees and 90 degrees. That is called an acute angle. Next, third one is right angle. Right angle will be like this, exactly equal to 90 degrees. A right angle will be exactly equal to 90 degrees. And here also we can have the same concept as we discussed previously. Two right angles. Here one right angle we have, one more right angle we have with the bigger rays, but both the right angles are same always. So any two right angles are always equal because they have measurement same 90 degrees. And after right angle we have fourth type as obtuse angle. Obtuse angle. Obtuse angle ranges between 90 degrees and 180 degrees. Obtuse angle lies between 90 degrees and 180 degrees. Next, fifth type, the next type is straight angle. Straight angle. Straight angle generally on a line. See, this is called straight angle, which measures exactly 180 degrees. So angle on a line we can consider as 180 degrees. The angle on a line like this. Next, sixth type is reflex angle. Reflex angle, which we won't use in the basic geometry mostly. This is reflex angle, which ranges between 180 degrees and 360 degrees. 180 degrees and 360 degrees. And the last type of angle is complete angle, which resembles a zero angle but with one complete rotation. This is called complete angle with measurement 360 degrees. The measurement of a complete angle is 360 degrees. The measurement of a straight angle is 180 degrees. And here we can get some relations between right angle, straight angle and this complete angle. One straight angle is equal to two right angles. Generally, one straight angle 180 degrees it is. Right angle measures only 90. So this 180 is double of 90. That's why we can consider one straight angle is equal to two right angles. Similarly, one complete angle also we can consider as four right angles. One straight angle is equal to two right angles and one complete angle is equal to four right angles. So this is the relation among these three: right angle, straight angle and complete angle. Next, let us move to the other concept, the next concept, which is called intersecting lines. Intersecting lines. In the name only we have that is intersecting, means meeting. So two lines, if they meet at a point, if two lines have a common point, they are called intersecting lines. If two lines have a common point, they are called intersecting lines. And this point which is common for these two lines is called point of intersection. Point of intersection. And here, when two lines meet, when two lines intersect each other, we can form totally 4 angles. You can see clearly, we can form 2 pairs of angles opposite to each other. So here, a pair of opposite angles formed whenever two lines intersect each other, which are opposite to each other. A pair of opposite angles formed when two lines intersect each other are called a pair of vertically opposite angles. Vertically opposite angles. And these vertically opposite angles are equal in measure always. Whenever two lines intersect each other, we can form pairs of angles opposite to each other, and these are called vertically opposite angles, and these vertically opposite angles are equal in measure always. Not only this pair, we can form the other pair also. We can find the other pair which is vertically opposite. So these 2 pairs of vertically opposite angles are equal in measure. Okay. Next, after intersecting angles, we have some interesting point. On a plane, suppose if we have 2 lines which are non-intersecting, that means these 2 lines don't have a common point, like this. So in a plane, if 2 lines are not intersecting, that means if 2 lines have no common point, then we can say that they are parallel lines. These are parallel lines. For parallel lines also we can find many examples in our real life. The best example is 2 rails on the railway track. 2 rails, they won't meet at all. Or we can find edges of a road, they also can't meet. And we can find many different examples. For paper also, opposite edges, these opposite edges of a paper are considered as parallel lines. And here, while discussing about these parallel lines, many people have a misconception that 2 lines, if we have like this, you can see here I have drawn 2 lines. Here in the picture it seems to be parallel, they are not having any common point in this picture. So by seeing this, by observing only the picture here, many people think that these are also parallel lines, but actually these are not parallel. On extension, as the lines can be extended indefinitely, as we know that line is not only confined to this part, it can be extended. This line also can be extended. So in the extension they meet at one point. So these are actually intersecting lines only, but in the picture their intersection was not shown. So basing on that picture only, we cannot consider them as parallel lines. They are intersecting lines. That's why in a plane, if we take any two lines, they are either intersecting lines or parallel lines compulsory. Any two lines if we take in a plane, they are either intersecting lines or parallel lines. Now let us see some properties of these parallel lines. We have a symbol for these parallel lines like this. So properties of these parallel lines, suppose if we consider one line L, it is parallel to itself. We can say that every line is parallel to itself. Every line is parallel to itself. So this is a property called reflexive property. This is a property called reflexive property. Reflexive property. Next, second one, we can consider L and M, two lines. If L is parallel to M, then M is also parallel to L. So this is a property called symmetric property. The name of this property is symmetric property. If a line L is parallel to M, then M is also parallel to L. This is called symmetric property. And the third property is, if L is parallel to M and M is parallel to N, then L is parallel to N. That means if first line is parallel to second line and second line is parallel to some other line, third line, then this first line can be taken as parallel to the third line also. So if L is parallel to M and M is parallel to N, then L is parallel to N. This is called a transitive property. These properties are very important in your higher studies. So these are properties of parallel lines. Next, after parallel lines, we have some more important concepts. Among them, first and foremost is perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines. So two lines, if they maintain an angle 90 degrees between them, that means if angle between two lines is 90 degrees, then we can consider these two lines as perpendicular lines. And there is a symbol for perpendicular also, reverse T. T for Telangana, reverse it. That is the symbol for perpendicular. So if a line L is perpendicular to M, we can show like this: L is perpendicular to M. L is perpendicular to M. And here for perpendicularity also we have some properties. The first property which we applied in parallel lines can't be applied here, because there every line is parallel to itself, but every line is not perpendicular to itself. But the second property which we applied there is, if L is parallel to M, then M is also parallel to L. Here the same property we can use. If L is perpendicular to M, then M is also perpendicular to L. Second property, which is called symmetric property. This is called symmetric property. If L is parallel to M, then M is also perpendicular to L. That is called symmetric property. And the third property also fails in case of perpendicular lines. That is, if L is perpendicular to M and M is perpendicular to N, if first line is perpendicular to the second line and second line is also perpendicular to the third line, then we can say that the first line is parallel to the third line. That is not perpendicular. This is very important. Okay. So far we discussed about the basic terms of geometry such as point, line, line segment, ray. After ray we discussed about collinear points, plane and angle, different types of angles. And one more point we skipped actually, that is very important. While reading this word geometry, many people read it as geometry. They read it as geometry, but there is no N in the spelling of this word geometry at all. It is actually geometry, not geometry. Okay, and one more point also we missed in these concepts, that is about the interior and exterior of an angle. While drawing an angle in a plane, after drawing an angle on a plane will be divided into three different parts. We can say that by drawing an angle on a plane, we can divide the plane into three different parts. The first one is interior of the angle. That means we consider these points, all whatever the points we have in the interior of the angle. So these are all a collection of points in the interior of the angle and a collection of points in the exterior of the angle. So while by drawing this line, we divide the total plane into three parts. First one is interior, second one is exterior, and the third one is the angle itself. The angle is also a collection of points, so itself. So this collection of points is the third part. So by drawing any figure, not only angle, by drawing any figure on a plane, we can divide the plane into three different parts, three different collections of points. So one always can be interior, second one always can be exterior, and the third one always the figure itself. This not only in angle, next in further studies also, in further concepts also, whenever we have a figure, plane figure, every time we can have these three parts, interior, exterior and the figure itself. Next, after this, after these intersecting lines, parallel lines and perpendicular lines, we have some lines called concurrent lines. Concurrent lines. Concurrent lines mean if three lines meet at a point or more lines, we can have three or more. For intersecting lines, only two lines are allowed. Two lines, if they meet at a point, we can call it as a pair of intersecting lines, and the point also can be called as point of intersection. But if we have three or more than three lines meeting at a point or having a common point, these are called concurrent lines, and this point is called point of concurrence. Point of concurrence. So if three or more lines have a common point, they are called concurrent lines, and the common point is called point of concurrence. So this is one more extension we can consider as extension of these intersecting lines. Next, after this we have very important types of angles. In pairs of angles, we have some important concepts. Let us see about complementary angles. Complementary angles. So if the sum of any two angles is 90 degrees, they are called complementary angles. For example, if you take angle A plus angle B is equal to 90 degrees. For complementary angles, examples we can say many examples, 30, 60, 30 degrees and 60 degrees, sum of these two is 90, 32 degrees and 58 degrees. Like this we can have many examples for complementary angles, because their sum is equal to 90 degrees, one right angle. But if we consider angle A and angle B as a pair of complementary angles, we can write this statement, angle A plus angle B is equal to 90 degrees. And here, while taking the pair of complementary angles, each of these angles can be taken as complement of the other angle. That means here angle A is called complement of angle B, angle B is called complement of angle A. So here in this statement, let us try to find angle B. What is angle B here? We can transform this A to RHS. So it becomes 90 degrees minus angle A. So angle B is equal to 90 degrees minus angle A. Angle B is equal to 90 degrees minus angle A. So here, as angle B can be called as complement of angle A, here we got a formula, complement of angle A is equal to 90 degrees minus angle A. Complement of angle A is equal to 90 degrees minus angle A. Similarly, if you take complement of angle B, we can take 90 degrees minus angle B. So this can be considered as the formula to find complement of any angle. So here we can have some questions, some problems for practice. So let us find complement of 40 degrees, complement of 32 degrees, complement of 32.5 degrees you take, complement of 40 degrees if you take. What is complement of 40 degrees? 90 degrees minus this angle 40 degrees, which is nothing but 50 degrees. So complement of 40 degrees is equal to, we can have 50 degrees. Similarly, what is complement of 32.5 degrees? If you have fractions, then 90 degrees minus 32.5. Here the calculation of fractions, the calculation of in fractions already we have seen in previous classes, number systems. In number system second class we have seen about operations on fractions. 90 degrees minus 32.5. We can convert this into an improper fraction. This is actually mixed fraction which can be converted into an improper fraction, and 90 degrees minus, this is in improper way, in improper form, that is 65 by 2, 2 into 30 to 64 plus 1, 65 by 2, and after this, by equating the denominators, here denominators are not same, these are unlike fractions. So to subtract, we have to maintain equal denominators, so we can multiply with the 2 minus 65 by 2. So this is nothing but 180 by 2 minus 65 by 2. So on subtraction we can get 115 by 2, which is nothing but 57.5 degrees. 57.5 degrees. Or in simpler way also, we can subtract this. In simple way, how can we subtract? That is 90 minus 32.5. So better first we subtract the whole number part. 32 you subtract from 90, which is 58. But actually that is not 32, more half we need to subtract. Now this half only we can subtract from this 58. If we subtract half from 58 units, it is nothing but 57 and half. Very simple. In this way also we can subtract, we can simplify. So here in complementary angles we have learnt how to find complement of any angle. Can we find the complement of 100 degrees? So can we find complement of 100 degrees? No, because it is more than 90 degrees. 90 minus 100 degrees means it will be negative. So always we can find complements of angles which are less than 90 degrees only. Next, let us take the next concept as supplementary angles. Supplementary angles. So if sum of any two angles is 180 degrees, it is called the pair of angles is called pair of supplementary angles. Example, suppose if you take angle x plus angle y is equal to 180 degrees. Here for example this is 72 degrees, this is 108 degrees. 72 plus 108 is 180 degrees. And here angle x is called supplement of angle y and angle y is called supplement of angle x. So angle y, just like the previous one, we can write as 180 degrees minus angle x. Angle y is equal to 180 degrees minus angle x. And this y is called supplement of angle x. Supplement of angle x. Therefore, supplement of angle x is equal to 180 minus angle x. So, thank you children. You can note down the questions which we have in on the screen. Question number 2 you can note. Question number 2. Find out at least 5 objects in real life which give us an idea of point, line, angle, intersecting lines, parallel lines, perpendicular lines. Circle we didn't discuss today, that's why leave circle, and you have to tabulate the results. After finding those objects which are resembling these given concepts all, you have to tabulate them. That means which objects are resembling point, which objects are resembling line. Like that you have to tabulate, you have to prepare a table. And instead of the first question, you please practice some problems from complement and supplement. Find complement of supplement of 100 degrees and find the supplement of complement of 50 degrees. Thank you.